Very few pony motors operate on John Deere 2-cylinder tractors. We're going to help you fix that problem if you have a John Deere 2-cylinder diesel tractor. Now these tractors were equipped with a pony motor right here, which was a gas engine which you would start first, and then once that was running it would get the big main diesel engine running in the tractor. But so many times these pony motors aren't operating, and nowadays lots of times people just pull start them in order to get them running. However, in this video I'll show you how to easily tune up your pony motor. Hopefully a tune-up would be all that your pony motor needs in order to be running well. Sometimes they will need a rebuild, which is costly, and it's not something we're going to cover in this video, but if a tune-up is sufficient, you'll be able to follow all of those steps and get your pony motor running properly again. It's always important to make sure that your battery is good so you can test your battery. Our battery was bad since it's been sitting so long, so we installed a brand new 6-volt battery, which is positive ground. A word of caution is to never use a boost box or jump it from your truck. If you put the 12 volts on this system, it will burn up the coil, and I'm talking from experience there, so don't do that. It's a sensitive system that really has to be 6 volt. So with the battery hooked up, we're going to see if the motor will roll over. In order to do that, you just switch this to on. You can see that the red light comes on the dash here. Then I'm just going to press the button and make sure that the motor will roll over, which it will. That's good. Yours should as well. The next thing that we'll check for is spark. However, if yours does not roll over, then you might want to check some of your electrical connections. Maybe your switch would be bad. You want to test things there to make sure that your engine will roll over. So now let's go test our spark. I'm just replacing my last of the 4 spark plugs here, which you can see these spark plugs are available from Steiner Tractor Parts. Now I'm going to put this spark analyzer on. This is a simple tool that you can purchase at any auto parts store. I'm going to hook that up, and then we'll be able to see the spark right here. So with the tractor in neutral, we'll go ahead and press the starter button and see the spark. Hope you could see that the red light came on. That's a good sign we do have spark there. If your tractor does not have spark, then you would probably likely want to check your coil and your points next. Here is an example of the brand new coil that you can purchase from Steiner if you need to replace that on your tractor. We don't need to, so we won't go through that steps here, but if you need to, that option is available. There are 4 bolts here at the top of the air cleaner. You'll pull those out from the top, and then your air cleaner will be free that you can remove it from the tractor. There is a breather tube down at the bottom which will kind of pull out of the crankcase, and then you can twist this around and it will slide out. Try to twist it this way. Almost there. Okay. This is an oil bath, as you can see, oil coming out of it. We will clean this up before we put it back in the tractor. I'm just going to set it aside for now. What we're trying to get to is the carburetor. There's some bolts on the bottom, so we'll remove those, and then the carburetor will come out of the tractor. To remove the carburetor from the tractor, there's a fuel shutoff which you'll want to unscrew, and then you can leave the rest of the fuel valve inside the dash of the tractor. And then there's 2 bolts on the bottom, there's some linkages on the back. Take those off, and then your carburetor will pull off the tractor. You can take these 4 screws off of the top of the carburetor bowl here, as well as loosen this one, and then this cap will pull off. You can see the float is here. Our float is good and intact. It's stuck, but we can correct that. We'll go ahead and disassemble the rest of the carburetor and clean it very thoroughly, and then we'll be back to reassemble. You have 3 jets in the bottom of the bowl of your carburetor. It is important that you remove those carefully so that you can thoroughly clean them out before reassembling. I have this one really clean, and you can use a piece of wire or a small drill like this if you have it to get those really clean, because that is of high importance. This carburetor the engine has to be really high RPMs, so the carburetor being clean in all these passageways is a key to your success. These are brass, so they are somewhat fragile. You want to be gentle when you're removing them and putting them back in. This one screws in quite a ways. They're bottomed out, I could feel that. Then we have this one. You can see that there is a small gasket on the end. This one will drop down in there, and then we can screw that one down. We also use some air from the air compressor with the blow-off nozzle to clean this out, and some cleaner. It's really important. Lastly, there's this itty bitty one. Just want to show you, this one was completely plugged on my carburetor, but now we can put this through here and see how clean it is. This one is in the very bottom of the bowl. Just gonna try to get that started. Might need to use a self-starting screwdriver or something because it's kind of hard and you don't want to get your threads crossed at all. There we go, I got it started. Just going to tighten it up the rest of the way. There we go. Okay, so that's the bottom of the bowl. It's all clean and ready. For the lid of the bowl, you'll want to use some air to blow through here to make sure that this passage is completely clean. It'll come out, the air will come out here. And then you can put your new seat in as well as your new needle. Your float will drop on top of that. First I'm going to set this gasket there. Then your float will rest right here and put this pin through. You want to make sure that your float is in proper position. The manual suggests 1 1/8 inch gap between the very top of the float body and the bottom of your case. I'll measure mine and it looks just about right. If yours is off, then you could use some needle nose pliers to make some adjustments here close to the lever. Don't squeeze the actual float because you don't want to do any damage to it. And before you reuse your float, also make sure that it's in good condition. You can kind of shake it and make sure that there's nothing floating around in there. So with that, then you can put your cover on the top of your bowl. This will drop down and it's directional like so. I'll flip it over real quick and show you that I did put the covers over my jets there. So we'll line this up, use the same screws, and of course there's that small lock washer behind them, and tighten all 4 of those up. You can reassemble your bowl onto the main part of the carburetor. There's just these 2 screws with the washers behind, and then you tighten it up with a bolt. You have some main jets. I have this one already put in. This one you can put in and you would screw it all the way down until it's tight and then turn it back counterclockwise 2 turns. This one you put all the way in and then you turn it back out just 1 turn. Now this one we did use the spring from the original jet but replaced the screw part of the jet. So I'm going to tighten this up. I'm going to have to use a different screwdriver. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that up all the way and then screw it out 1 screw for a preliminary set on that jet there. Our carburetor is back on the motor. You put a new gasket in there. Our spark plugs are all connected. Our fuel line is connected. So now we're ready to start the tractor up. I will briefly explain the steps to starting the pony motor before starting the diesel motor. First, you want to turn the fuel on the tractor. I do 2 complete turns right here. Then you want to turn this switch on. Like that. You can see that the red light comes on. Over here on this side, this is the choke. This one you can see is run and start. So you'll move that over to start it and then back over to the left for running. Then once the pony motor is revved up enough, then you can engage the diesel engine. You'll pull this back towards you with the decompression. You want to pull really gently. Then once it's engaged, then you can push your decompression back and your tractor will start right up. Of course, when you do this, you always want to make sure that it's in neutral. It's nice. You can hear that diesel motor start up. It's always important once the diesel motor starts to remember to turn off your pony. You can turn off the fuel here and then the switch on the bottom. I hope that this tutorial is helpful to you and that you'll be able to get your pony motor running on your John Deere tractor. To watch more tutorials, go to our TV page at steinertractor.tv.